Yeah. Back up in this bitch. Okay. Where are we? Where's the buttons? What's going on, people? Welcome back to another video. My name is Luiz and you're watching Breaking News Deadline Day. Back again for that arse with breaking news. Listen, there's huge news going on up and down the transfer window about to close. So we're joining you bright and early. I hope you're all doing well. Make sure you are subscribed if you're new and drop the video a damn like if you breathe oxygen. We have a target. All right, I want 2,000 likes on this video. Today is going to be a big day. You may well see my face more than once, especially if you keep on showing the support. Fraud gang, where is the fraud gang? Are we present in the chat? Are we present and correct? Let me just have a look. Couple frauds in the building. Yeah, couple frauds. Okay, I can see all the frauds. What's going on, people? How you all doing? Hope you are well. We have got big news to talk about. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of players today. I've got my little blue book with a list. We've got Wilfried Zaha, David Luiz, Tierney, Celso, Welbeck, Cancelo. There are huge deals happening, and we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of them. Everyone very gassed and very excited. Yes, good to see you all. We're going to start with Manchester United news. Let's just get it out of the way. I know Manchester United fans are very frustrated right now, especially with the business that they have done. Even though they've signed the most expensive defender of all time in Harry Maguire, they are struggling as far as midfield options this window go. And I think certainly people were expecting this to be done quite some time ago. But Inter Milan making a new offer of 70 million, including add-ons, and that looks like it's been accepted. So Romelu Lukaku is set to join Inter Milan for £70 million after add-ons, or including add-ons. So I'm presuming it's a lot less than 70 million. Players representative Federico Pastorello spent most of Wednesday in talks with United's representatives, who had been hoping to hold out for 80 million. Inter had previously offered 64.7. It looks like they've now raised their bid to 64.7 plus a further 5.3. It's a 5-year deal. Inter Milan paying him 300 grand a week. Wow, incredible. Conte, long-time admirer of Lukaku, and I know Lukaku was upset that he didn't actually get the move to Chelsea instead of Manchester United. So finally he can work with the manager he wants. And I guess now we have to talk about who's going to be coming in. Is it Mandzukic? Is that really ideal? I'd love to know the thoughts of Manchester United fans watching. Who would you rather see? A midfielder brought in? I know there's been lots of talk about Bruno Fernandes, but that doesn't seem to have actually materialised into anything. Perhaps this could be a sensational deadline day for Manchester United fans as well. You would expect them to bring in someone to replace Lukaku. Pogba likely to remain at Old Trafford, it's saying there as well. I would not be surprised if he is off, though, next season. Real Madrid and Zidane, too irresistible. We're going to move on, though. And next up, we've got Spurs. Tottenham have agreed an initial fee of £55 million for a top-class player. And they have drastically improved their midfield if they've pulled this off. Betis Argentine midfielder Giovanni Lo Celso. I'm not going to lie, he's left-footed, and I'm a big fan of left-footed players. He's got great ability, this guy. Very calm on the ball, very composed. If they pull this off, and it looks like they have pulled it off, I mean, it's been going on for a long time, we know, but again, if they've added Ndombele, they've got a very balanced midfield now. Are they going to be able to keep hold of Eriksen, or would this spell the end of the Danes' time in North London? And Manchester United, again, linked with the midfielder, who is integral to what Spurs do. I think he's one of the best at what he does in the league, to be honest. So is this a replacement or is this an addition? If it's an addition, I think this is a top-class move from Tottenham, who are certainly moving in the right direction, making some really positive signings and not losing key players as well, which I think a lot of people thought that they would. Let's just have a look and see what the website is saying. Sky Sports reporting that Spurs have agreed an initial fee of 55 million. Is expected to travel to London on Thursday ahead of a medical and completing a deal which could rise up to £60 million. He's only 23 years old, and Betis didn't include him in their squad for a friendly against Las Palmas on Wednesday. And this would be Tottenham's second biggest signing. Oh, wow. And they're also going for Ryan Sessegnon. Big fan of this guy, another left-footed player. I'm a big fan of left-footed players, obviously, because I'm left-footed and left-handed. We are the creative geniuses, the genii, amongst the plebeians. Do you know what I mean? Yes, so Spurs working on big... Tottenham are also working on an agreement with Paulo Dybala, according to Sky in Italy. I mean, I don't know how much to believe that, but wow, we're talking about some big-name players. And certainly Spurs moving in the right direction after their Champions League final and a great season, really. We'll move on. We've had enough Tottenham news. I'm feeling I've got a bit of bile in my mouth, you know. But we will talk to the Fraudstein, who says that Arsenal have reached an agreement with Chelsea to sign centre-back David Luiz for £8 million. We're going to talk about this in much detail. I did do a video yesterday and received quite a lot of criticism for how positive I was about this. But lads, we are going to break it down. There are pros and obviously cons to this deal. But Arsenal reaching an agreement with Chelsea to sign centre-back David Luiz for £8 million. That is an absolute bargain. What's going on my fraud gang? Frauds! I can see you arriving in the building. How are you all doing? Are we excited about this? And also the extra news that not only will the 32-year-old Brazilian international sign a 2-year contract, but also a deal for Celtic left-back Kieran Tierney looks to have been completed. £25 million fee, a 5-year deal, and the medicals will take place today ahead of putting pen to paper before the 5 p.m. deadline. This is sensational news. Arsenal in for 2 defenders. Exactly what the fans have been asking for. And there is more news as far as Arsenal go. We are going to have a look at the papers for a second. I have got the Daily Mirror here. I don't know if you can see, but 2 players there asking to get me out of here. 2 players looking for a move in Wilfried Zaha and David Luiz. Daily Mirror's Simon Mullock saying Wilfried Zaha has handed in a transfer request at Crystal Palace to try and clinch a switch to Everton. He was actually on Instagram liking pictures of Pepe, which was quite interesting. Let's see if we can get a picture of our man up here. We've got a lot of other guys to talk about. There's no Zaha picture. Wizzy, where are you? Fraud! Just for, effect, I'm going to get some Zaha stuff up in the background. Here we go. Right, there's a picture of Wilf. The Merseysiders have been quoted £100 million for the Ivory Coast international, which is an absolute joke, if you're being really honest. A guy who scored 10 goals once in his career in a season. Everton's second offer of £70 million, plus James McCarthy and Cenk Tosun, still left Palace cold. And that is very interesting because we have now seen James McCarthy moving to Crystal Palace from Everton. Perhaps that is the first part of the deal, and it is actually closer to being done than even this paper has been able to stay ahead of. But Zaha's bombshell demand to leave has given Everton fresh hope, and they're now likely to test Palace's resolve again with a straight cash bid of £80 million. Fucking hell. Okay, in the other news, David Luiz skipping training. I don't know whether that's actually true. Darren Lewis, who is, I think, chief football reporter for the Mirror, saying that David Luiz is actually agreeing to a shock deal to Arsenal following a series of rows. He's thought to have been at war with the club as he tries to force a move to the Emirates, and Frank Lampard is understood to have moved quickly in his first big test as Blues manager, and a deal worth about £8 million is expected to be agreed ahead of today's 5 p.m. deadline. Sensational news. Me personally, I cannot believe this is happening, but like I said, we will talk about the pros and cons of a David Luiz move very briefly. The deal now agreed. It looks like this is a done deal. David Luiz will be an Arsenal player. All the basically respected journalists out there have been quoted as saying that he refused to do training, but I don't think it was that. I think it was more that he was actually surplus to requirements at Chelsea now. He knows that he's going to be the 4th choice centre-back. He's behind the likes of... Who is he going to be behind? I guess, who's the former St Etienne? Kurt Zouma. He'll be behind Christensen. He will be behind Rudiger when he's back. And so it makes more sense for him to earn just as much money playing in London at a club who are in need of a defender, especially an experienced centre-back like he is. And I will say this much, right? I know that he is not the greatest defender in the world. In fact, I think he's very much a calamity. What's his name? Calamity James? Calamity James, like Mustafi. In fact, the prospect of having David Luiz and Shkodran Mustafi at centre-back is actually terrifying. However, there is breaking news for that ass, boy. Breaking news for that ass. In that Shkodran Mustafi is being linked to a loan or even a permanent move away from the arse. And that could be completed today. Don't forget there is extra time. I think the window is open till September the 2nd for international clubs to still take Premier League players off their hands. So there is still hope for Arsenal fans as far as Shkodran Mustafi leaving the club goes. But one thing I will say as far as the pros go, because we know that David Luiz is certainly, he's capable of being a liability. And we wouldn't really want to be bringing more comedy to a club who are certainly looking to end the banter era. But in his favour, I will say this. There are not many defenders who can ping a 40, 50, 60-yard pass like David Luiz. He has the vision to see between the lines. He may not be a great centre-back to me. I think he's actually a better DM. But he is very comfortable on the ball. He's assured and decisive in the challenge. Even when he's reckless, he shows that he's a great character. And I've seen so many mistakes that this guy's made over the years, but still, I just love him. I think he's got the personality that I want at the club. I think he's a good human. That's another important thing that I do like at my club. I want people to be good human beings. And at the same time, I know that this is actually potentially the biggest mistake that Arsenal could be making right now. Everything that we've done this window so far has been very impressive. Ceballos, very, very good on the ball, very assured, good potential, could even be a prospect to sign him permanently. Saliba, looking to the future, could be potentially world class. We've got Tierney, let's say. Tierney, one of the best left backs in Europe when he's fit. Is he going to be fit for that? But, how long will that take? Blah, 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 blah. That's a great signing as well. You've got Pepe, absolutely top drawer and one of the most sought after wingers in world football. This has been a very good window. To add a centre-back who's got experience, who has been there before. He was absolutely integral to a Premier League championship winning side, who has dominated Arsenal's strike force in Aubameyang and Lacazette. People are saying he's a fraud. Well, where were your fucking frauds in the final, Europa League? He had them in his pocket, no? Facts only, right? So there are things that work in its favour for me. I think this is a deal that has some positives to it that we really have to kind of cling to as Arsenal fans. And it looks like this will be announced today with David Luiz and Kieran Tierney both now set to undergo medicals before finalising. Let's move on because there is other breaking news for that ass. West Ham United have actually signed another striker and 22-year-old Swiss international, Ajeti, from FC Basel. Now, I don't really know a lot about this guy, I'm not going to lie. And they have just signed Sebastian Haller. So this is very interesting. What's all this about? We've got a video going on here. Okay, buy the new kit and all that. Great. Adverts. West Ham United delighted to announce the signing of Swiss international Ajeti. Is it Ajeti? I'm guessing. It's not Ajeti, surely. Ajeti, I'm going to say Ajeti, from Basel for an undisclosed fee. The 22-year-old joins the Hammers on an initial 4-year contract with an option to extend for a further 2 seasons. He played his final game for Swiss Cup holders Basel in a Champions League qualifying win over PSV last week. Scored more than 40 goals over the past 3 seasons and is considered to be one of European football's most promising young centre-forwards. That sounds great. I don't know much about him, like I said, but I do know that it is a £9.9 million fee that he occasionally plays as a right wing or a second striker, and his value seems to be going through the roof right now. He has certainly made a great impact at Basel, and they have a decent record of producing half-decent players. So as a Swiss international, I think West Ham fans can be quite excited about another signing. I'm not going to lie, I've never really actually noticed seeing him play. I might have watched him sometime randomly, but I don't think I even have. So I can't tell you whether he's any good or not, but that sounds quite promising. And it is more business for West Ham, who have been very, very active in this transfer window. Let's actually have a look, if we can, and see who West Ham have signed. I know they've signed Pablo Fornals, Sebastian Haller. Look, here we've got Sebastian Haller for 36 million, Pablo Fornals from Villarreal for 25.2, Ajeti for 7.83, Cardosa from Boa Vista for 3 million, and a free transfer in Roberto, who I guess is replacing Adrian, having gone to Liverpool. I'd love to know your thoughts, whether you think West Ham can actually push on and break into that kind of category of Leicester, Wolves, Watford. I think it's, certainly more money in the Premier League than ever before, and I guess they're happy to spend it. New stadium, it's an attractive proposition being in London. Could be exciting season for West Ham fans. Let's have a look and see what else is going on in the world of transfers. Deadline day, of course, is upon us. And Manchester City have splashed the cash yesterday, announcing the signing of Portuguese right-back João Cancelo. Now, we are going to get into this in a little bit of detail, because what they have here on their hands is actually one of the finest right-backs in world football. Make no mistake about it, this is a massive upgrade on Danilo, even though they valued him at 1 or 2 million more in the deal, which is worth about £60 million. This is, to me, a real shock. I'm not going to lie. I cannot believe that Juventus have sanctioned this deal. I don't actually know who's running stuff at Juventus, but what they're doing is quite questionable in terms of bringing the manager that they have in terms of the decision to let this guy go. I would guess that this has something to do with Pep Guardiola going to Juventus at some stage. Maybe they have some kind of deal where they will help him out with players for now if they guarantee that they're going to get Pep. Remember last year or last Christmas, it was basically confirmed that Pep Guardiola would be going to Juventus. People blew it out of the water and said that it was nonsense. However, I do believe that there is some truth to the rumour that he will end up there. And I don't know whether this is a dodgy deal or anything, but it just strikes me as very surprising. If only because he is so good. He is, to me, he's a better right back than Kyle Walker. He might not be as fast, but he's certainly very, very, very good. Not only defensively, but the ability to swing balls in accurately, his pressing game. This is, I guess, Juventus fans have to be kind of pissed at this. One of their most promising players, and Manchester City are just basically ridiculous. They are ridiculous. It's a ridiculous team. It's actually got to the point where it's a bit silly now. There's no weakness. They may have Otamendi still in the team, but, and I don't personally rate him, but I'm sure they'll sort that out before too long, and it is already quite ridiculous. So I would expect them to just be miles ahead again, and I don't even see what the point in doing the league is really, because they just keep adding 50, 60 million pound players. This is a 60, 70 million pound player, make no mistake about it. And they spend so wisely. It's not like they're just splashing cash on random little fuckers that are just adding nothing. This is a top-class signing. And if they do 3 in a row, then you've got to say, well, yeah, okay, this is what I mean. Is there any point? They are going to be the ones that everyone is out to get, though. So I would expect it to be backs to the wall job for every single club, who will just be happy to sit back. We can't play football against them, so we may as well just defend and hope for a set piece. That may well be their undoing as well, because it isn't always easy to unlock a defence that is just so impenetrable. 4 walls of 3 or whatever it is, that's not maths. Anyway, let's move on. Watford have announced the signing of Danny Welbeck, who is looking forward to showcasing his talents, being back out on the pitch and playing football, doing the thing that he loves most. Danny Welbeck, I do wish him the best. He is a very useful addition for me. He's 28 years old, international experience. He's got the ability to go past a man or two, and I think that he will do very well at Watford, who have built a squad that is capable again of being in that conversation of challenging for top 6, 7, 8. They should be in and around there now, and I'm very impressed with the way that the club's run, the signings they've made, the way that they've dealt with things. They're very ruthless, but also it's got this kind of family-oriented thing that they're building. It's international, it's diverse, it's I don't want to say a stepping stone, but it is potentially a great stepping stone in people's careers as well. I would expect the likes of Doucouré, for example, to move on to bigger things quite soon. But the fact that they've kept together the majority of their squad, they've got some useful players in all positions. Deeney is still their leader, I guess. Gray looks good in pre-season. Welbeck, I'm sure, will get a few goals. Holebas can chip in with some assists and whatnot. And they have got people like Hughes who probably should be doing a little bit more. But useful players up and down like Pereira, Doucouré, Capu. So it's a tidy little squad. So Welbeck believing that he can really flourish at Watford. And I hope that is the case. We will move on. Let's see if the Fraudstein has said anything. Okay, we've got Sam Dean here, who I think works for the Telegraph. Does he work for the Telegraph? Yes. He says Hector Bellerin has told 5 Live Sport that he's a few weeks away from rejoining first-team training and he's hoping to play competitively within 2 months. That's good news for Arsenal, I guess. Here we go. David Ornstein, the Fraudstein, saying that Tottenham are close to reaching an agreement to sign Juventus forward Paulo Dybala. That is a huge coup for Tottenham if that comes off. Manchester United fans will be absolutely fuming that Paulo Dybala has turned down their great club to go to the biggest bottlers of them all. Wow, sensational scenes here. The deal is not done, but both clubs are hopeful. And Tottenham stepped up their interest after their pursuit of Sporting Lisbon midfielder Bruno Fernandes ended over a fee. Okay, so basically Manchester United are getting mugged off left, right and centre. This is actually crazy. Surely they're going to step in and do something sensational on deadline day. You would think that they would not want to be embarrassed like that and leave the fans without something, having lost Romelu Lukaku. I know that he's not everyone's favourite, but his goal record is sensational and it was one of United's worst ever years, so there is something to be said for that. But Tottenham close to reaching an agreement to sign Juventus forward Paulo Dybala. Wow. Actually crazy. We will have a look and see what Sky Sports are saying before anything else. Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah could be on his way to Leeds for a medical ahead of a season-long loan deal. It looked like it was going to be Bristol City for some time, but it does look like Eddie Nketiah is set for a move to Leeds. And I'm not going to lie, I think this is great. I did say earlier, a couple of months ago, at the beginning of pre-season, when everyone was gassing about him scoring a couple of tap-ins, that he does need a loan. People were fuming at the fact that I was happy to get rid of a guy who could potentially play a part in Europa League and cup competitions. But I think that later on in pre-season we saw he does need a little bit more time. He is very promising to me, and I'm surprised that another small, like a lower league Premier League team, not lower league, but lower kind of bottom half Premier League team hasn't taken a gamble on him. Great pace. He's got a great eye for goal. He seems to have a great record and a lot of luck in front of goal as well. So I do wish him the best if he does make a move to Leeds. But it's being reported here 20 minutes ago that bigger news for Arsenal is that Kieran Tierney has arrived in London for his Arsenal medical. It's absolutely sensational stuff here as Arsenal look to be pulling off mad deals on deadline day. Let's go through Sky Sports headlines. Lukaku is in Italy after the Inter fee agreed. We've talked about that. Manchester United have reopened Mandzukic talks. I mean, are you happy with Mandzukic? Great player on his day. Very, very experienced. He's done it all, been there and won it all, I guess. Or nearly won it all. But twilight of the career, is that really what he needs? Or United need in the Premier League right now? Spurs have agreed a Sessegnon fee. David Luiz is on the verge of an Arsenal move. Manchester City set to sign Derby's Carson. What is going on here? Scott Carson is set for a surprise move to Premier League champions Manchester City. That is actually very interesting. He would act as cover for, I guess, Edison and Claudio Bravo, and also gives you that homegrown number which they do need to add up. He spent 2 years in Turkey, and I guess it's like Manchester United. Who they signed? What's his name again? Clark? Was it Clark? I don't even know his name, for crying out loud. There's a G in there or something. I can't remember his name. The United keeper, he's a mixed race guy. He barely plays. He basically travels with them. It's an absolute joke that this even goes on. But it looks like Scott Carson as well is going to be joining that, and that's a great deal for him. He's set for life now, I guess. Beautiful transfer. Sit on the bench and earn thousands of pounds a week doing training. It's like a gym membership, a highly paid gym membership. What a life. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He could be a farmer. Do you know what I mean? What is life? Here we are. Done deals everywhere on deadline day, all over the place. Real Madrid in talks with PSG over Neymar. Sensational. Real Madrid, this cannot be true. Sources say PSG are unlikely to sanction a sale unless they're able to recoup the 200 million that they spent. Surely that would not happen. That would be absolutely crazy. Deadline day will be crazy throughout the day, though. The breaking news that's happening right now: Crystal Palace are waiting to find out if their £23 million bid for CSKA Moscow's Fedor Shalov will be successful. And David Luiz is close to a move from Chelsea to Arsenal. Beautiful scenes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe if you're new and drop the video a damn like if you breathe oxygen. For now, though, I'm going to love you and leave you. I will talk to the fraud gang very briefly in the chat. Let me just have a little look to see who is about. There's about 3,000 of you in here. Thank you so much for joining me. Do me a massive favour and subscribe to the channel. We are going to be back today with breaking news for RS. Do not worry about that. Let's have a say hello. Lee Grant, there we go. That was his name. Thank you so much, you knowledgeable. I love the frauds. The fraud gang are the most knowledgeable fans on the world of football YouTube. And there is going to be breaking news for that ass this season. All right, as I am going to be live and exclusive for plenty of your games. I can't say too much more yet, but I'm looking forward to sharing the experience of this Premier League season with you. And I hope that you will support the cause as I try desperately to grow this channel so that we can actually have built one of the biggest, best football communities on YouTube. The more subscribers that we get, the more interaction that you give, the more videos I will do. And that will mean that the content will get better. I'll be able to do interviews with some serious guys and we can build and bounce together. Fraud gang, if you are subscribed, I love you dearly. If you turn those bell notifications on as well, wow, me and you, we're family, right? And like I said, if you leave comments, if you want to just hashtag the fraud gang, if you want to send me stories as they break, a lot of people have been doing that recently. I really got to give a lot of love to you because there are times when, yesterday, for example, I made 2 videos. I basically fell asleep in front of the TV watching Sky Sports News, and I woke up to a whole bunch of notifications saying, go live, we've signed Tierney, David Luiz is done. So I do appreciate all of that, and I will be back today, without question, as more breaking news appears. Fraud gang. What else do we want to talk about before I go? Let's have a look. Sane. Okay, it appears that Sane, I hope you can all see your comments coming through and whatnot. This should be a little bit of fun. Sane, I think he's done his ACL, hasn't he? And Bayern Munich aren't actually sure whether they should be going all in to sign the young German. Manchester City, I'm sorry to say this, but the fact that they've added Cancelo has tipped them right over the edge. They are one player away from... They have to win the Champions League. They absolutely have to win the Champions League at this stage. The league would be great. 3 in a row is fantastic. That's amazing. But realistically, the Champions League is the one that Pep needs now. And if he doesn't get it this year, I'll just be shocked. How can that team be beaten? How can that team be beaten? Anyway, let's talk about who else. People want to talk about Coutinho. Ben Yedder to Aston Villa, apparently. What's going on with Zaha? We have talked about Zaha. Let's have a look at the Mustafi news before we leave. The fraud gang need a Mustafi update. So do I. What's this? I don't want to send a message. No, I don't want to send a message to Mustafi. I sent him a message saying, back on top, lad. Mustafi and El Neni walking into training today, but seeing Raul at the gate. That's quality. That's quality. They're both in fear. Oh, look at this. Breaking news from Sky and Get French Football News. Sky suggests that Arsenal defender Shkodran Mustafi is potentially on his way to a Ligue 1 club today. Could it be Christmas? Could it be Christmas? Say your prayers, lads. Cross your fingers all day. Stay tuned. There is going to be breaking news for that ass throughout the day, and it looks like we may well have What a gargantuan footballing institution. Our knock is different. It's different knock FC. Don Raul getting the business done. Wow, what a club. Gazidis, you should be ashamed of yourself. The way that you conducted yourself at this club, giving yourself bonuses when after a few months we have seen the way that this club are acting under Raul, Vinay and Edu. Wow, you should be ashamed. Disgraceful. Absolute fraud. Massive fraud. Bald egghead of a fraud. Wow, the cheek of it. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope you're all well. And subscribe to the channel. Let's smash the hell out of the like button before we leave. And a lot of love to the Fraud Gang for tuning in. We will be back again, like I say, with more videos throughout the day. Hopefully, we get breaking news on Shkodran Mustafi leaving the club, Tierney coming to the club, and the confirmation of David Luiz as an Arsenal player. Beautiful scenes. Beautiful, beautiful scenes. I'm going to love you and leave you now. My name's Izzy, and this has been a lot of fun. Peace.